Hi class, so this is Miss Guerrero. Sorry I'm not able to be here with you tonight, but remember you're still having to watch this video. Tonight's class is not going to be a live Zoom, but it's going to be a pre-recorded class. So make sure that you watch this video and then also the grammar review. So for tonight, we want to start tonight on Burlington English. The first thing we want to do is be able to locate our questions. Our questions are going to be titled Intermediate English, Burlington English Readers Ghost Readings. How do we find this reading? We want to make sure that you go to a window. Okay, you want to make sure that you go to classes, okay, for Google Classroom. Okay, and you want to make sure that you click for ESL Intermediate T for Tuesday / Thursday. So what we're going to do is go to classwork tonight. So in classwork, reader number 2, a ghost collection. Everyone, you're able to do these questions. Let me make sure that you all have a copy. So when it says each student will get a copy, it means that you can write on the presentation. This is your own individual copy. So going to our presentation, we have 3 stories in this book. Story number 1 is The Ghost of Dodson. Story number 2 is The Priest Hole. Story number 3 is Sarah's New House. So let's go ahead and get started. We want to go ahead and make sure that we start with story number 1, The Ghost of Dodson. So once we're done listening to chapter 1, we'll come back to the questions for chapter 1. So now we're going to go to Burlington. So in Burlington English, we want to make sure that we look at the box. We're going to have to find the box that says readers. So make sure to go to readers. We're going to go ahead and click enter or click in here. And now instead of, remember, we've just recently read Gulliver's Travels. We're now going to go down to intermediates and we're choosing the first collection, a ghost collection. So this is tonight's book, a ghost collection. So what we want to do is enter. We're going to start with The Ghost of Dodson Hall. We're going to go ahead and click on chapter 1. And remember, we're going to use a magnifying glass. So click on here and we're going to start reading. So let's go ahead and play.
Chapter 1, Dodson Hall.
It is 1940, and the Germans are bombing the big cities in England. Sally Brown is 12 years old. She goes with some children from her school to stay in Norwich Village, in the country. It's safe there for the children. Sally is going to stay in Miss Dodson's house. She lives alone in Dodson Hall, a big old house near the village. Miss Dodson says, "I'm an old woman, and I can't look after you. I know it's lonely and children are bored here. I'm sorry, but it's better than London with the bombs. Let me take you to your bedroom."
Okay, so next.
Sally puts her bag in her bedroom and decides to explore the house. She walks around the cold, quiet rooms. Everything is elegant and beautiful. But Sally is sad because she wants to be with her family in London. It's lonely in Dodson Hall because she doesn't have any children to play with. Suddenly, Sally hears laughter. Children, she thinks. Happy children. Who are they? I'll go downstairs and find them. Sally enters the kitchen. A girl and boy are running out the door into the garden. "Wait!" she shouts. "Don't go!" The girl stops and looks at her in surprise. "Mealy?" she says. Then she turns and runs outside. Sally is perplexed. Who are the children, she thinks. Why did they run from the kitchen? And what is Mealy?
Okay, so we are done with chapter number 1. We want to come back. We want to make sure that we understand that we have comprehension. So question number 1 is, what country is bombing in 1940? So question number 2 is, describe the room. 3, where is Sally from? And 4, what does Sally hear? So again, if you need to record or rewind, can re-listen to the story for chapter 1, that is okay. On Tuesday, we will go over these answers. So let's go to chapter number 2 now.
Chapter 2. Ghosts. Miss Dodson and Sally have dinner together. Miss Dodson tells Sally about her life in Norwich, and Sally talks about her family in London. There were children in the kitchen today, says Sally. Who were they? Children, says Miss Dodson. No, dear, there are no children in Dodson Hall. But I saw them, says Sally. A boy and a girl. You're imagining it, dear, says Miss Dodson. It's because you miss your friends from London. Maybe other children from your school are staying near here. Why don't you try and find them tomorrow? It's late and Sally is tired. It's time to go to bed, she says. Good night, Miss Dodson. Good night, dear, says Miss Dodson. Sleep well. Sally goes up the stairs slowly. She takes a candle and it throws shadows on the wall. Sally enters her bedroom. A girl is there. It's the girl from the kitchen, and she's looking under the bed. Where is it? She says quietly. Where's what? Asks Sally. She's very curious about the girl. The girl stands up immediately. She goes silently to the window. Wait, says Sally. But it's too late. The girl disappears. I'm not imagining this, thinks Sally. She's a ghost.
Okay, so we are finished with chapter 2. So we want to go back to the questions in our presentation. And for chapter 2, it says, what does Miss Dodson say about the children? Okay, and I forgot to put the word say. Okay, and who is Sally? Who is in Sally's room? And what does Sally say about the girl? So what we want to make sure is if we didn't understand, we go back to the reading, we listen to it, and then we try to listen more attentively. So we are starting with chapter 3. So we're going to go back to Burlington.
Chapter 3. At Night. The weeks pass and Sally is still at Dodson Hall. She sees her ghosts many times, but she doesn't tell Miss Dodson. Sometimes the ghosts are in the kitchen. Other times they're in the bedrooms. One day it's just the boy. Another time it's the girl. They open drawers and look under tables. They're always trying to find something. What are they trying to find? Says Sally. Maybe I can help them. At night, Sally lies in bed and hears the ghosts. They're talking, she thinks. Why don't they talk to me? Sally closes her eyes. The ghosts think she's sleeping. They enter her room. Sally sits up in bed. She's nervous, but she wants to talk to the ghosts. Hello, she says. Who are you? What do you want? The boy looks frightened. He goes to the window and disappears. The girl approaches Sally. Mealy, she says. Where is it? Where's what? Shouts Sally. She's frustrated. Tell me, maybe I can help you. The locket, answers the ghost. I'm desperate. Help me. Sally gets out of bed and tries to touch the ghost. There's nothing there. Now the room is very cold, and Sally starts to tremble. She looks outside, but there's nobody there. Suddenly the door opens, and Miss Dodson enters the room. Are you okay, dear? She says. You shouted. There were ghosts in my room, Sally explains. Please believe me, Miss Dodson.
Okay, so we are finished with this chapter. Let's go to chapter 3 questions. So 1, is Sally afraid of ghosts? 2, what is the ghost looking for? And 3, who walks into Sally's room? So if you did not understand, we want to make sure that we rewind this and that we listen to the story one more time for chapter 3. So let's go to chapter 4.
Chapter 4. The Explanation. They're trying to find something here, Sally continues. And they say a strange word, mealy. What's that? Miss Dodson is surprised. Mealy, she says. That's me. My name is Amelia, but in the past, some children called me Mealy. Which children? Asks Sally. Nancy and Tim, answers Miss Dodson sadly. Their father was our gardener, and we played together. They were my friends. And what happened to them? Asks Sally impatiently. A tragedy. There was a terrible fire in their house, and they died. I still have something of theirs, Miss Dodson says quietly. I keep it to remember them. It's a locket. A locket? Asks Sally. She's excited now. The girl wants the locket. She's desperate. How did you get it? Nancy broke her locket one day, says Miss Dodson. She was very sad because her dead mother's photo was inside it. I wanted to fix it for her, but the fire happened that night. I never saw her again. Let's leave the locket for her on the kitchen table, says Sally. Good idea, says Miss Dodson. Then she and Tim can rest in peace. Here's the locket. Miss Dodson and Sally put the locket on the kitchen table. They leave a note, too. It says, This is yours, Nancy. I fixed it for you. Much love, Mealy. Then they return to their bedrooms. In the morning, there is nothing on the kitchen table. The locket and note mysteriously disappear. And the ghosts never visit Dodson Hall again.
Okay, so we are finished now with the first reading. We want to go to chapter 4, and we want to make sure that we understand. So chapter 4 is who is Mealy? 1 is who is Mealy? 2, what story does Miss Dodson tell Sally? And then, we want to go ahead and look at number 3. What is Nancy looking for? Okay, so again, if you didn't understand chapter 1, 2, 3, and 4, please listen to it one more time, 2 more times, 3 more times, and then we will discuss this on Tuesday. So now we're going to move on to book number 2, The Priest's Hole. Okay, for this chapter, we have a little bit more, for this book, we have a little bit more chapters. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 chapters. So we're actually going to go ahead and listen to them all together, and then we'll look at the questions. So we're starting with The Priest's Hole. So let's go ahead and put play.
Chapter 1. The Priest Visits. Harry York is 13 years old. He's going to a boarding school because his parents are going to work in a different country. His father takes him to the boarding school in his car. Harry is nervous because he doesn't know anybody there. Don't worry, says his father. You'll soon have new friends. Harry meets Simon and Paul. They're also new students at the school. Simon, Paul, and Harry are going to sleep in the same room. I like Simon and Paul, thinks Harry. Maybe we'll be friends. That will be nice. It's nice to meet you, Harry says. A dorm counselor comes. He takes the 3 boys to their room. You can put your clothes in the dresser, says the counselor. Dinner is at 6 o'clock. At night, the 3 boys are sleeping. A priest enters the room and wakes Harry. Did you pray tonight, Harry? Asks the priest. How do you know my name? Harry asks. That's not important, says the priest quietly. I need your help. Please kneel on the floor and pray for the priest. What priest? Asks Harry. Don't ask questions, answers the priest. In this room, you must pray to find the priest. Harry gets out of bed and prays. He's frightened of the priest, and he's very confused. Good boy, Harry, the priest says.
Okay, so remember, we're going to read this book, okay, continuously. So chapter 2.
Chapter 2. The boys laugh at Harry. The priest visits every night, and Harry gets out of bed, kneels on the floor, and prays for the mysterious priest. One night, Simon and Paul aren't sleeping. They see Harry. He's talking to somebody, but they can't see anybody there. They are very surprised, and they laugh at Harry. But Harry doesn't pay attention to them. They don't understand, he thinks. I must help the priest. Look at Harry. He's talking to somebody, but nobody's there, Paul says. Simon and Paul tell the other boys about Harry. He talks to somebody, but nobody's in the room, they say. He's crazy. Harry's a strange boy, the other boys say. We can't be his friend. Harry is lonely and sad. One day he talks to his teacher. It's true. I talked to somebody, Harry says. A strange priest comes to my room at night. I must get out of bed, kneel on the floor, and pray. The priest wants this. I don't know why. Don't worry, Harry, the teacher says. Many new boys imagine strange things in the beginning. You have a very good imagination, that's all. Harry isn't surprised by the teacher's words. Nobody can understand this, he thinks. It's my problem. Chapter 3. The priest is angry. One evening, the priest comes at 9:30. Harry is tired and angry. Go away! He shouts at the priest. The priest becomes angry, and Harry is sorry. He tries to apologize, but the priest won't listen. He shouts at Harry. You must help me. The priest is here in this room. He can't rest. Pray for him. Harry covers his ears and shouts, No, I won't listen to you. Simon and Paul are surprised. Harry is shouting at an imaginary person again, they say. The dorm counselor enters the room and says, You must take your showers now. Harry takes his towel and runs quickly from the room. After their showers, the three boys return to the room. They're very surprised. The room is in chaos. Books are on the floor, and somebody broke the windows. Look at the mirror, Simon says suddenly. There's a message on it. Paul reads the message. I'm here. Why don't you help me? Simon and Paul look at Harry. Who did this, Harry? Do you know? Asks Paul. It's a frightening message. I didn't do it, answers Harry. It's the priest. Why doesn't anybody believe me? We never see a priest, says Simon. We can't believe you. Is he invisible? Is he a ghost? Asks Paul. I don't know, says Harry, but I'm not imagining it. Chapter 4. Nobody believes Harry. The dorm counselor enters the room again. He looks at Harry. Did you do this? He asks. No, says Harry. I was in the bathroom. It was the priest. Did you see anybody? The counselor asks Paul and Simon. No, we didn't, they answer. We never see anybody. We don't believe you, Harry, says the counselor. You're a very strange boy. You talk to an imaginary person. You see an invisible priest. You get out of bed at night to pray. But, says Harry. Listen, Harry, said the counselor. You need help. Why don't you talk to the principal? Maybe he can help you. In the morning, Harry goes to the principal's office. He's nervous. Will Mr. Field, the principal, be angry? Will he believe me? He thinks. He knocks on the door and Mr. Field says, "Come in." Harry enters the room timidly. "Ah, Harry," says Mr. Field. "Sit down. You and I must talk." Harry is trembling, but he sits down. Then he tells the principal about the priest. Mr. Field listens to every word. He's not angry with Harry. He wants to help him. Chapter 5. The Truth. "The other boys don't believe me," says Harry. "I believe you, Harry," says Mr. Field. "Many years ago, I was a boy in this school. I slept in your room, and I also saw a priest." Harry is surprised, but he's also happy. "Finally, somebody believes me," he says. "The priest never spoke to me," says Mr. Field. "But I saw he was sad. I was frightened of the priest, but I didn't tell anybody about him," the principal continues. "It was my terrible secret until now." "You must change rooms," the principal continues. "I'm going to redecorate that room, and it'll be a television room. Nobody will sleep there again." Simon, Paul, and Harry change to another room. They're happy there. The priest doesn't appear again at night. "I can sleep well now," thinks Harry. "There won't be any more strange visitors at night." The builders come to redecorate Harry's old room. They remove the old wallpaper from the walls. They find a wooden panel under the wallpaper. There is a skeleton in a small space behind the panel. They can't believe it. "Why is this skeleton here?" the builder says. "The police must investigate," says Mr. Field. "We need an explanation for this." The police examine the skeleton. "This skeleton is very old," they say. "You must bring forensic scientists. Maybe they can help you." Chapter 6. The priest finally rests. 2 forensic scientists come to the school and study the skeleton. They find more small spaces in the walls. "The spaces were priest holes," they explain. "This building is from the time of Queen Elizabeth I. Roman Catholics didn't pray in public then because the Queen didn't permit it. But the Catholics made secret places to hide and pray in, priest holes." The Queen's soldiers searched for the priests. This skeleton was one of those priests. He died in this priest hole, and his skeleton stayed here for centuries. Why did he die? We don't know. "Thank you for your help," Mr. Field says to the scientists. "We must bury the skeleton and give him a Catholic funeral. He doesn't need any more help. We found him finally." A Catholic priest buries the skeleton near the church. Harry is famous in the school because he saw a ghost and the ghost spoke to him. "We were cruel to you because we didn't understand," say Simon and Paul. "We're sorry. Can we be friends?" "Yes, it's okay," says Harry happily. "We can all be friends now. And don't worry, I won't talk to any more ghosts at night."
Okay, so everyone, we're just going to read the first 2 books together. So For the Priest Hole is book number 2. The questions for chapter 1, okay, we already read. How old is Harry York? Why do Harry's parents take him to boarding school? Who are the boys that Harry meets? Who comes into the room and what does he tell Harry? That is chapter 1. If you did not understand, please make sure to listen to the story. Questions for chapter 2. Who visits Harry every night? What do the boys say about Harry? And what does the teacher say to Harry also? So those are the questions for chapter 2. Chapter 3, the priest is angry. Question 1, what does Harry tell the priest? 2, how is the priest feeling? Question 3, who comes into the room? Question 4, what happens to the room? And question 5, what message does the priest leave? Now we're going to go into chapter 5. Chapter 5, the truth. Does Mr. Field believe Harry? What happens to the room? 3, what do they find in the wall? And 4, who is hired to help? And then the last thing is, I just want you to give me a summary of this story. So again, okay, it is important. I want you to practice on your own. Okay, you're gonna do individually, independently, chapter 3, Sarah's new house. The same way that we heard book 1 and book 2, you wanna make sure that you hear book number 3. And then remember, book number 3 is right after the preschool. So we have it here. So make sure that you understand Sarah's new house is on page 28. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this. I will see you on Tuesday. Thank you. And remember, these questions are available for you. Have a good rest of your day and I will see you Tuesday. Take care, everyone. Good night.